Good morning.
You're.
Oh my God. Yes, Europe to you too as well.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Yes,
it's your
I
birthday.
am dragging. See,
It's not your birthday.
there's a lot wrong with you.
It's not your birthday. That's the other 18.
That is true. I did
Yeah.
just get a happy birthday text from a family member.
Guys, I kid you not. Morgan just got a happy birthday text from a family member on a month after her birthday.
I mean,
So
here's the thing. At least it is, in fact, the 18th. Right?
I feel like a hobbit having second breakfast. What are we doing? It's just another birthday. Just throw it in there.
I mean, maybe you get a birthday every month.
Is this like the month-long celebration of a birthday? It's from the 18th
Oh,
to
it's
the
the
18th?
end. Well, that would be a weird. I mean, hey, I don't know how.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how it works. This is the first time I've had one.
In all my years.
In all my many years, this is the first time I've had an actual month-long birthday.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if there will be more ice cream cake.
Oh my God. You are not. You're just
What?
right into more ice cream cake.
Birthday?
Okay.
What's the problem? You know what?
This is my mistake.
I thought you accepted me for who I am.
Okay,
You know?
I have.
That's that. Have you? I mean, it kind of right now sounds like you have some judgments, and that's weird.
Zero of those. Zero judgments.
Sounds like
okay. You know? Maybe you're just hearing me wrong.
It's possible. Should you have that attitude? Would you have now offended me? An apology is in order, but I guess you'll just do that instead. Wow. Starting off great,
You know what?
everybody.
You know what? You're right. It's not about the intent. It's about how it's received. And I apologize that you heard it that way. Huh?
So close.
Just
Right there, and then you said, never mind. Like, that was absolutely a choice. Wow.
It is a great Thursday.
Well, good morning, fiancés. I'm just going to ignore the one that's in here with me. Do tell us in the production notes, if you would. Can you hear the AC? Is it a problem? Is it fine that we have it on? Because it's hot otherwise, and I'd like you to not tell us that it sounds bad.
It does sound really low in the background.
It does right now, yeah.
I think we're good to go.
Well, they're going to let us know, hopefully.
Yeah.
Was my point.
Yeah.
How are we?
I don't know. I'm embattled.
Embattled?
Yeah.
With Are you at war?
Yeah. I'm at war.
Do you mess with the war?
Yeah, I do. There's just so much conflict going on right now. So many different things.
This is somehow going to be about Acolyte, isn't it? Oh my God!
It's so good.
The way his face just lit up.
You guys watching Acolyte out there? What's happening? Okay, no, I will, I'll reel it back in. So, I'm embattled about this whole COVID situation with Joe Byron. Robinette.
Oh, okay.
That's where my embattlement was.
You're embattled with
Yeah.
it? Explain. I think
I want homie out the race, right? And while this could take him out the race, because he did say the only thing that would take me out would be my health.
Uh-huh.
It's so late in the game. I feel like we're left with nothing.
I'm confused.
Yeah?
What do you mean?
Okay, so I voted uncommitted. I wouldn't have Biden gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
When they started talking about alternative candidates, I was like, I'll take a Shapiro and I'll take a Newsom for 500. Like, so much has happened, and I feel like the runway is a lot shorter now. And now we might end up with Kamala on the ticket, at the top of the ticket. And if you and I have discussed several times before, these United States of America in the 2024 are not ready for a black woman president. So it's like, it's a loss. So now I'm just like, Now what? What are we? What is one to do? I'm battled.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused.
You too are confused.
Well, I'm confused by you being in battle. I don't know what you thought, how you thought it wasn't going, that Kamala wouldn't be the one that they put up. There was never going to be a point where she wasn't. She's the only way to keep the money. So I guess I'm a little confused by that.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. Once I learned that was the only way to keep the money, it did change my perspective on things. I was like, oh, okay, so this is definitely how it's going to go. But prior to that, I was like, hey, man, we got some options out here. Because to me, it just made sense to just swing the money in a different direction. But it's like, no, you can't just do that.
Yeah, you can't just do that. But she could have, but here's the thing. Would you, what I'm confused by is if you think that Joe's going to lose anyway, then getting him out of there and letting Pop retire and letting someone else run, it wouldn't really matter who it is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I think it's fine that that Trump wins. I obviously do not want that.
Yeah, of course.
And I also just don't know how hard they're going to go in the paint on exposing is the wrong word. Hammering on the actual issues of a Trump JD Vance administration.
I could make a prediction as to how hard in the paint they're going to go.
Okay.
0 hard.
Well, he was. It's going to be hard to talk about it now that we have Eargate. Eargate has shifted the landscape big time.
Michelle has wished you a happy birth month of ice cream cake.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, fiance.
Definitely nothing made up about this.
No.
It has always been a thing.
Obviously. Thank you.
Malcolm, good morning, Morgan and Ambush. You both are coming through crystal clear.
Thank you, Malcolm.
There's the production notes.
We needed it. Yeah. Good morning, Malcolm. I hope you're doing well.
Same.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Air conditioner just making it sound slightly like you're on a spaceship. I had to turn our fans to hear it. Off our fans to hear it. Well,
I'm with the sci-fi sound effects.
Right this second, it's going to have to be that. And maybe, by the music break, we could turn it off or something. But it's got to cool down in here. Mm-hmm. Again, shout out to Chase. And was it Travis that helped him?
Chase and
shout out to y'all for making this humongous difference.
It's pleasant here with that.
Yeah, so much better. Yeah. So we've got Eargate. We got to figure out a way to do a little more engaging during the week, because when this happened, we were out and about. When
you're right.
And
maybe we should have just went live or something.
Yeah, I very badly wanted to chat with the fiancés about this because,
Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize this is the first show since Trump got quote unquote shot.
And I want to know how folks feel. Because they're, not just like how you feel that someone shot a president, or a former president, but what it means moving forward. And how long are we going to have to hear about this?
Mm-hmm. Now, to be clear, it's not like, oh, he got shot, how long we got to hear about it? It's not what we're going to say.
It's not? Oh, okay.
I felt like what you were expressing before was, well, first off, there is just the uncertainty of what actually happened. And what we are hearing about it is the same one thing and not the myriad of other things that we should be hearing about.
Well, I've got many questions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Many a question. And the way that information is coming out about it, I would love it to be a little more solid.
Mm-hmm. Conclusive.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. The shards of glass from the teleprompter that was hit which is what some witnesses are saying happened. Some journalists there saying he wasn't shot or grazed. It was teleprompter shards
sprayed everywhere,
which certainly makes sense too. And the thing is that it doesn't actually matter to me which thing harmed him. He was clearly shot at.
Right.
I don't have the same feeling of, and I think that y'all probably know this, that I am not going to all of a sudden say that violence is not acceptable and political violence is not acceptable. We are living under political violence every single day. It's certain kinds of political violence that are unacceptable to the people being shot at. And I get that. I think that, you're getting shot at, you would think that that's unacceptable. But the policies that those people have put in place, the violence that is the American government, I'm not happy to hear any of these Democrats go out there and go, oh, hey guys, this a bridge too far.
No violence.
This is not unprecedented. What we need to figure out is why the Secret Service was like, go ahead.
Right.
Maybe figure that one out. Maybe talk to the FBI who was like, oh, we know about that dude. Because somehow they always know about that dude.
Don't know if you guys are aware of this, but it was reported yesterday that the Secret Service, it ramped up a little bit. The Secret Service was aware that he was on that roof 20 minutes before the first shot. So
to see the sniper, the counter sniper, look confused. Because they keep showing us that footage of him like looking through the scope and then being like, oh no, he's about to do something. Like, y'all have been, what are we talking about? And those are the things that don't, because there is not like an immediate conclusive thing. Mm-hmm. The conspiracies run rampant, right? And I am not trying to in any way lean into that. But what is hard to just sit by and see is, an Arizona state representative on the RNC floor saying the Democrats shot at our president. And what are you talking about? What is the point of doing find out this person's political affiliation so that we can figure out what their motive was? What's the point of doing that when you find out that they were a Republican on the same side of the person that was shot at?
Right.
And then you're like, oops, lies, forgot. Oh, but also they also donated $15 to an Act Blue, which is even funnier because that's just like the payment processing. Yeah. That's not even a candidate or a campaign. It is the processing. It's who you get the email from. But to do all of that and then just like discard it and still say, nope, that was the Democrat. I don't know. Yeah. And that particular, I can't remember his name. That particular state rep was speaking to one Amy Goodman of Democracy Now!
Gem of a journalist.
And he heard the word democracy and that meant Democrat to him.
Like, oh yeah, I heard you guys.
He's like, yeah, I know who you guys are. You should stop trying to kill my president.
What?
Huh? And listening to Amy kind of be like, well, do you understand Democracy Now? Not what?
Not Democrat Now.
And he's like, yeah, I know who you guys are. Okay? I know who you guys are. Stop asking me about January 6th because you tried to kill my president, so you don't get to talk about January 6th anymore.
You're not allowed.
That's a delusion, but that is a delusional area that people are living in, right?
It's heavily populated.
It's heavily populated there. And the idea that that's where we're going to sit with this now, we're going to have to argue what that shooter's motive was, why the government or agents did not know or do or whatever. Right. That's going to be the conversation, all while Trump gets to literally be the victim and the victor yet again.
Got to fight that deep state. They tried to take me out from the inside. That's going to be part of the narrative moving forward. They knew.
Gonna be. It is right now.
Yeah. To your point earlier, not, us getting the details that we need. There was a media pundit and they were saying, like, after something like this, we get a medical report, at least something to that effect, stating the president underwent surgery. This is what happened. There's going to be something reconstructive happening. These are the damages. This is what has occurred to him because of these reasons. And he's like, we're not getting any of that, which leans more into the glass from a teleprompter than an actual bullet hitting his ear. And the fact that it seems like the right has just, and in some ways, what we would consider, centrist or left-leaning media, it seems like everyone's kind of just moved forward, kind of just pushed it on, kicked the can on down the road, waiting for something more sensational to happen, versus the fact that they're leaving this where it lays, as if they have no responsibility to the public to actually report on every aspect of this. Like they want us to be charged with the importance of an assassination attempt, but then it's like, nothing to see here, nothing to talk about. Well, is it important or not?
Right.
And if it's important, is it only halfway important? Is it 13% important, or is the entire thing, all parts of it, important? The fact that Secret Service had a warning before, the fact that the parents said something, the fact that they knew he was up there, like, is all of that important? Or it seems like they're just leaving it out there in the conspiracy theory.
Okay, I see what
cloud,
I was very confused.
As opposed to like legitimately saying this is the.
Well, they can't put the timeline together yet, right? But but I think that is what they're trying to do. Because when you said that they're just leaving it, I'm like, this is all people are talking about. This is all they talk about, ain't it? I see what you mean, though, I think. Because it is different aspects and not putting it together in like a linear thing. There are these different pieces that you have to be tracking. And if you aren't tracking those, which, to be fair, most people are not.
Right.
The thing happened. And then they still had to go to work the next day. Or the thing happened and then their kid was sick. Or they got the Rona. Like, whatever the situation is, that guy's still alive. For a lot of people, this is not going to be that big of a deal.
Nope.
People get shot at every day, B.
Yes. Every day.
For other people, this is going to be the biggest deal of their life, And this is all they're going to be paying attention to. And the rabbit holes they will go down, will be interesting.
It will be deep, substantial.
I think there is something to be said about, did this kid go by Thomas Matthew all the time? Or is the media feeding us the three names? Like,
for those who
Thomas Matthew Crooks sounds like, John Wilkes Booth. Like, it sounds like you're either a serial killer or an assassinator.
Yeah. Yeah.
The conversation is certainly not, why did this young white man shoot at a president? That is not the conversation I'm hearing. I'm not even hearing that he had, a mental health issue yet, for real.
Definitely not. Definitely not hearing that yet.
There is something definitely interesting to me that it's like, well, he was a part of the gun club, the shooting club at high school, because we have those. And that he was kicked off the team because he was such a bad shot. And that's an interesting thing, because people are like, how'd you miss? Oh, you missed because you're a bad shot.
You got kicked off the team.
I don't think that. Like, the origin story of so many athletes is not getting picked, right? So many top athletes.
Right.
That then just like hunker in and all they do is shoot in the gym.
Right.
We don't think that could have happened for him and he could have just been like the best marksman at that point. It
makes sense to me.
And I don't know. I I don't know which, ancestor or guardian angel helped Trump there and moved his head. And, he doesn't even use teleprompters, right? He's always making fun of people for teleprompters. But you move to look at it. Saved.
And then we got those two really amazing photos that will go down in infamy for this moment. You know what? Again, because we haven't discussed this since it happened, but we've had a lot of discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give a little bit of the play-by-play. We weren't in the same place, right, when that happened, or where we were. We were together. We were together. We're on our way to see Long Legs. No.
We were at our friend's birthday party at her house.
Oh, it was there.
Yes. And sitting at a table, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It appears. And then we watched the video. And watching it on the phone outside, like with 4 different people looking at one phone, like was definitely a... Wait, so I can't really hear it? Does that sound like gunshots? Is that fireworks? Like what?
Right. What happened in here?
And it looked, definitely looked strange, like slow reactions from people there. It looked like, which is even more interesting now that somebody right behind him, and rest in peace to that person, who was hit and killed instantly. So says, but there's no reaction to that. As it's happening. Like you don't see anyone react to that. It's like they're still all like, they're looking around like what?
Man had a moment to put a fist in the air while someone perished right behind him.
Well, he had to tell you to fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had to tell you he was okay.
I thought right.
There's a thing that I don't understand, and I'm going to keep saying this. I understand that the Secret Service, they jumped up and created a shield. They were not shielding him. He was sticking out the top. He was popping the top.
Yeah. Well, 2 things were happening there. He was seizing the moment, and he's over 6 feet tall.
Yeah. He's not that tall of a man. So number one, let's not do the thing where he's not 6'6" out here. Like. Also, why isn't the Secret Service taller than him then? I'm not even being funny. Like, I'm not being funny at all. Why would the people that would shield you in a moment of that, why are they 5'4"?
I mean, they dogpiled him first, right?
Yeah.
And then they stood him up to move him.
Yes, and he was towering over the top of a couple of people, and he was, like, pushing them out of the way. And is like, hold on, let me get my shoes. Okay? Gotta get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
Right.
Gotta put my shoes on. And then you're gonna be like, well, let me get my hand out here. Let them see my face. My head was just shot at, but let me show it to everybody. Don't know where those shots are coming from. Don't know what's going on. But let me show my face.
Right.
No. Oh my God.
That's why we didn't get a text.
I knew something was happening. Because Ambush is sly. He'll just like look over and, I wonder what's going on. I see what's going on. There's one Jack Rudo over there.
There is.
Setting up. Good morning. Yeah, so I'm not understanding. Like, I get it. There's shock. There's all sorts of things. There's things. There's stuff. But you are being shot at, and you are, or were being shot at. And you're like, let me put the thing they tried to shoot at right back in the center. I'm confused. That's all.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's possible that you have Secret Service people when you're at an event. If you're at an outdoor event and you're going to need a shield, the shield should not be smaller than you. I don't want a shield that you can still hit my whole body.
So why aren't they tall?
Why aren't they? Why don't they have any technology that matters? I just like and believe I don't even want. Let me be quiet.
Michelle sent a meme. It's a It looks like, is that Mary there? It looks like Mary. Deflecting a bullet. It says, oh, it's an angel. I'm an angel. God sent me to deflect this bullet away from a philandering, whoremongering, adulterous, business cheating, religious pretender into the body of a retired firefighter.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah. Hey.
And when God says it, you gotta do it. That's how that goes. You gotta do it.
Get another text. The real question is why weren't his shoes on?
He got shot out of his shoes. Fam. And all he got was a grazed ear. How did his loafers fall off?
I saw somewhere someone was like, oh, that's why he was in such a big fuss to get his shoes, because of the lifts. You can look in this photo, you see the lifts in the shoes. I was like, I don't know.
Oh, is he Ron DeSantis? There is something, I don't know why, I don't know. Well, okay, let me stop saying that. Trump has lied about every one of his, his stature, his weight, his health, his mental acuity. He has lied about it all. Yeah. Vance has said he is 6'3". He is not 6'3". There are pictures of you standing next to people that are 6 foot and y'all are same height. There's so you standing next to someone 6'2". They're taller than you. You're not 6'3". You're not higher than that either. So again, that's real not tall. I'm sorry. There are people that can. What are we doing? You don't send out the people that are shorter than the president or the person that they are. He's not the president. My bad.
Right.
But you don't send out a shield that does not shield the subject, is my point. Mm-hmm. I just think it's funny.
I mean, you're making legitimate points there.
I just don't understand how that's the team. Like, if it's me as the person who's needing shielding, I would be like, I wonder why this person is 5'2". I'm not a tall lady, but I'm taller than that.
So you're saying that you shouldn't be on my detail.
Correct.
Okay.
Maybe I drive the car, but what I don't do is stand in front of you. You're listening to X-Ray FM.
One last text before we hop into the music break. Got P-Town. Buenos diaz.
Good morning. Oh, buenos diaz.
It's magnificent morning. Magnificent.
There you go.
Wow. Morning, fiancés. Listen, can we name the new VanGogh? Carrot Topo. Loves P-Town. Oh, he'd have to be an artist of some sort for us to
right, and he don't get that. No. He doesn't get that at all.
Nah.
What did is it Michael Steele? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Who's now like I had to leave the Republican Party because Trump is the party or whatever.
Michael Steele is the pundit that I was talking about that said, what he said about how come we don't have medical records yet.
He specifically said that if you were shot with a high caliber bullet, that there would hardly be any ear left, even if it were grazed.
Yeah.
Not much ear.
No.
I don't know how we just make that
nothing to talk about.
Just if it were Joe Byron and he weren't releasing the medical records, there would be a lot being said. Yeah. But I also know that it doesn't really matter whether he does or not. Meg Thee Stallion was shot by Tory Lanez, and people are like, that's a bullet fragment and it didn't even touch her foot. Right. Like there's actual There's pictures, there's doctors, hey, we extracted these bullet fragments out of her foot. And they're like, nope, you were never shot. Made it up, completely lied. It was glass, in fact.
Shout out to her physical therapy. She back to just performing all crazy.
Big time. But the point is that people will decide what they want to and just make it true. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll decide what is and isn't important in whatever time they deem it, which is ridiculous. Because, yes, there's no way we wouldn't need every single piece of information and data, and even things that are impossible to get, if this was Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do just want to say before we go to the music break that it is important to note that Joe Byron has gotten the Rona, that this particular strain, who knows what's going to happen there. We are not out of a pandemic. We are not on the other side of it. We are not through it.
Yeah.
We are surging right now. And what we're doing is just our government took their hands off the wheel and said, never mind. Capitalism is bigger than Corona. We got to all get back to work. We all got to make more money. All of the things. We are nowhere near better. We're just not reporting it.
Yep.
Those numbers aren't being reported. Things are just quietly happening. So for all of the fun that people made of Trump while it was happening, and all of the let's be serious about this when Joe was running and saying, we got to take this seriously. We got to do these things. We got to report these numbers all the time. They're not doing that. And people are still dying. People are still being massively changed.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what long COVID means for real still. We don't know if that's forever.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's for the next 2 years. But we know that people's bodies are not responding to this virus in a way that we have just dealt with in recent history. And it just keeps mutating because we're not doing what we need to do. And a thing that is bothering me big time is that we have certain words and phrases get used that should never be used, but then they're just the common parlance or whatever, right? So you have mainstream news calling quarantine lockdown, and lockdown sounds, it just breeds defiance. It makes people say, you're not going to lock me down. You're not going to lock me down. But what in all reality, we need more quarantine. We need another pause. Because it's getting out of hand and we're just not talking about it and we're just not dealing with it. And now, you know, you might see the 89-year-old man die from it. He's not 89. All that stuff just lying about his age.
I was like, yeah. I couldn't remember. But maybe think about who else in his orbit is positive at this point.
Well, that's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way just that the president is positive.
No.
Who else got infected?
And there is not just a small amount of people around these folks, you know?
Never.
And if we could see how bad of a thing that was when it was, you know, new, and we didn't really understand all the way how it spread. And now this is airborne. The worst thing you can do is just be standing in groups of people talking.
Trying to convince.
And we know how much, you know, to not. The older a mouth gets, the more it spits, is all I'm going to say.
Okay. It's super accurate. It gave me a picture in my head that I didn't want.
Sorry.
So in local news, the older the mouth gets, the more it spits. Whoa. Well, okay. Okay. In local news, what did Dave Rubin, Elon Musk, and Bill Maher had to do with Renee Gonzalez and Nathan Vasquez?
I know you're wondering.
I query. In national news, let's talk about what high-value men, incels, passport bros, Proud Boys, trad wives, FBA and ADOS,
you know, get it right,
you know, have in common.
Because it's a lot. Okay. It's a lot.
All right.
And you might not think so. And let's talk about Peter Thiel. JD Vance, Trump, and Biden. What do they all have in common? Gonna connect some dots today. It's not gonna be a read a story, give you context. We're just gonna be chitting and chatting, as they say.
Indeed. All right, catch you inside the music break. And we are back. Did you cool it now? Huh? I'm a little cooled down.
Yeah.
Super cool. We got the ACs in both studios popping.
Well, ours is off right now, but
we got Jack Rudo, who's also cool
and popping.
it's like a quotient on the cool. You know? And you're back with News of My Fiancé, Morgan Jones and DJ Ambush.
Yesterday I was making a little story to say what we would somewhat, we're going to
discuss.
Connecting some dots tomorrow. And I remembered the number because I heard your voice in my head. It was like 971-220-5979.
Wow. You just did it just now without looking at it.
Yep.
It's funny how that works.
It's how you remember phone numbers. You got to not look at it.
You give it a cadence.
Also that.
Yeah.
A little jingle.
You got to turn it into a jingle.
Yeah.
Which I'm very good at, jingle making.
Okay.
Your silence
are being
compliance. in this
my silence is compliance.
In this particular situation, your silence there was like cosign,
That's
jingle
literally
master.
Lily, if you happen to be listening right now,
no,
I've said none of these things. He is making claims that I have not co-signed. I actually told him to get help from you, and here he is saying that he's already had it. So let's move forward.
Yeah.
High value white supremacy. How do we get to that? So, Ambush, I asked you if we could do the news a little bit differently because of how things have been going in the last week. And previous to the week, there have been many, I don't know, like maybe someone has heard me talk about the different pipelines that are bringing
conservative thought
directly to groups of people that did not have it before, or bringing it to people that don't know that's what's being brought.
Right.
And how that is, how I've been for years watching that shape the political landscape. And so, again, Lily and I talked about this, I think 2016, 17, something like that, about, and we were just sort of watching the rise of these different groups, the Patriot Prayer, the Proud Boys, the resurfacing of other ones, and just listening to these aggrieved white men that are young, able-bodied, like, and I use those descriptors because they use those descriptors.
Absolutely.
Not because I think that means that makes them whatever.
You're identifying how they're defining themselves.
Yes.
Also their requirements.
Certainly.
Yeah. These are the requirements.
Yeah. Watching them be really upset about things that were fake. They're just made up. They're manufactured. They're not real. Now, there are things that they are upset about that are real.
Yeah.
But much of what gets them to that major aggrieved point is manufactured upset.
Yeah. Rage bait. It's a result of rage bait.
Exactly. Well, so there's all these different ways to get to people. And in the beginning, what you saw was aggrieved young white men. Gavin McInnes knew what he was doing when he was like, you know what? Let's start a club. This is gonna be a boy gang. This is gonna be a boy gang, guys. We're gonna have so much fun. Sometimes we'll fight other boy gangs. No girls allowed. No.
Women Haters Club.
He knew what he was doing in a lot of respects because there is a diverse, and by that I mean there are guys that are married. There are guys that are lonely. There are guys that have never had a girlfriend. There are, there's a lot happening. There are different ethnicities, which has always confused folks on how can you have some black and brown people inside of a group that you are calling white supremacist, or why would those people want to champion white nationalism?
Think of it like law enforcement.
Thank you for listening to News with My Fiancé. I'm Morgan Jones. That's DJ Ambush, and we're done. That's it. Thank you. Yes, I mean certainly think of it as law enforcement, and the Proud Boys definitely think they're enforcing laws, right? And they have a good reason to think that because Roger Stone made them more credible to actual politicians than any of these other groups were ever going to have.
Yep.
And he did that by legitimizing them as a security force.
Yep.
In fact, they in their heads are law enforcement.
Because, in fact, in some of their lives, they are law enforcement.
Hannah Montana.
Yes. Yeah. Batman Bruce Wayne.
It's exactly that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's exactly that. This is just the weekend law enforcement, you know?
This is just when I got to take my badge off.
Just got to take my badge off and fight those Antifas.
Another shift.
Overtime, baby. But it's important to understand that because of that, Roger Stone didn't just say, you guys are worth securing us. Roger Stone said, you know what else? There's some of you that should run for stuff. Some of you should be running for office. And they did. And they did. And when you normalize a fringe group, and I don't mean fringe in the way that I think like MSNBC means fringe. I mean fringe as in not that what they're thinking is so far out there, but that they are not, at that point, were not known. They were not the KKK.
Yeah.
Which is fringe. Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Too many things happening in my head at once. But what I'm trying to get at is the things that they think, they don't think are far off. They don't think that that's fringe. They don't think that that's far out there. They think, in fact, it is, if you think opposite, that is wild, right? But bringing them, giving them the confidence, giving them some of the tools, giving them money to run as what they would call themselves like street brawlers, right? That's what this is a Fight Club-esque boy gang. Now they're going to be congressmen.
Right.
And understand that doesn't, you're just putting lipstick on that pig. You are not actually, they did not learn anything. They did not change any of this. They don't know, put the suit on and then say something different. It's put the suit on and still fight.
Yeah, they're thugs. You're welcoming that mindset into our legislative bodies. And on the opposite end of that, what do you have? You have a Marjorie Taylor Greene. You have a Boebert. It's just unruly, un-effing ruly. What's this parliament?
Jim Jordan.
Yeah, Jim Jordan. And it's what's really wild is like when I really started paying attention to those hearings and things like that, Jim Jordan was the top guy that it was like, yo, this man needs to be checked. He is off the chain. He is wild. And now look where he is.
Yo. He's
mild compared to what we're dealing with right now.
He's mild, but he's also like the head of the intelligence committee or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you don't.
Right.
All of this is idiocy. What do we like? They're rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
They're rewarded for not knowing what their jobs are. They're rewarded for not doing what they have been charged with.
Yeah.
And they're rewarded because that means they're an outsider. They're rewarded because that means that they're not. You know, I'm not going to do it like all these other politicians. I'm not a politician, as a matter of fact. I'm a business owner. I'm a community member.
Thank you for saying that. That's really interesting. Because, yes, they use that point of, I'm not like that last guy, so this is going to be different, which is intended to take your eye off of the ball of, it's not the individual, it's the system.
Right.
But you want to keep selling us, it's just the wrong individual. If the right individuals in this wrong system, I'm going to be able to give you what you want.
Right.
Malarkey,
Jack.
Okay.
Sorry. So we okay. I feel like I'm taking too long to get to the point. So we've got the aggrieved guys.
Right.
And they go into different pipelines. There is the straight up, anti-woman Andes. Those guys are just there's different pipelines for that. There's the incel life, there is the
high value man.
There's the high value man. There is the self-help influencer that is going to change your life if you buy this what are they called? Those
supplements?
No. Like workshops or whatever. Like
webinars.
Yeah. Like you gotta join Andrew Tate's big boy club.
And we'll see you at the convention.
Right. You've got I just want to be a regular Joe who listens to Joe Rogan,
who was also a regular Joe,
who has really perfected the Joe the plumber, average Joe. I'm just a dude that doesn't know anything, but also knows everything, but also doesn't know anything if I said it wrong. So don't even worry about it, because who am I? A smart guy? No, I told you I'm dumb. I told you I was dumb from the beginning.
Jamie, take a look at that.
I wonder why the internet is lying. I want to say this for real. Know that Joe Rogan said that, and he meant it. Why did the internet lie? He said that in 2023. Why does it lie? Jamie, why does it lie?
Jamie.
This is 7,000 years into being the most popular podcast on the planet. He says, why does the internet lie? We reward that. I'm screaming. He will.
Well, now
$100 million contract.
Well, now we know what we need to say on our podcast. We can get the big bucks. Accuse the internet.
Well, no, just
of lies and thievery.
Use the lies that the internet throws at you, and then be confused that it's a lie later after you spread it to millions of people. But this is the thing. So Joe Rogan exposes people to millions and millions of people to these high value men, to these marketplaces of ideas, to the Dave Rubin and the Sam Harris, who all of a sudden you realize, oh, wow, you are awful.
Yeah.
You started here and you're awful. Your goal is to kill people.
Right.
Or your goal is to oppress people. But you're doing it in this I'm just asking questions.
Just asking questions.
I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you have insignificant knowledge to these things, like what Joe has been able to do is perfect that I'm having a conversation because I want to learn, but he's not sitting there learning, and he doesn't do anything to be knowledgeable beforehand. So it leads to little to no pushback.
Right.
So then these are just platformed, and that is the issue. You can have conversations with the worst people in the world if you know why they're the worst people in the world, and you're able to push back on that if that's what you want to do.
Right, right.
If you want to have those conversations, do it. But be prepared for it. Because what you are is now a professional, and you want to act like you don't have to be regular or live to certain standards or work to certain standards because you didn't go to journalism school, so you ain't no journalist. You just Joe Rogan just hanging out.
Right.
But the influence and the impact is humongous. And so when he has everyone on from white nationalists to scientists, there is a immediate built-in thought that this is just a place where people get to chat. There's no harm. There is no danger or detriment to the fact that you're having on white nationalists who say wild dog whistles the entire time. And because you don't know what those dog whistles are, you don't hear them, you got no idea, and you're just like, so anyway.
Right.
Or you do, in fact, know what they are, and you decide not to say a word.
Yeah. Good for ratings. And also believe them.
So they start casually just sprinkling in those anti-immigration talking points, the border crisis talk, all of those things, then start seeping into other pipelines. And if you are unfamiliar, do you want me to talk about the FBA and the ADOS, or do you want to?
Because I'm not qualified for reparations, so it's best that you probably cover it.
Okay. we'll be real quick about this. We're not going to get to everything. So FBA, Foundational Black American.
Correct.
ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves.
Yep.
These are two separate groups, to be clear, but they, the general idea is similar. But the way that they go about things is different.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this is the kind of group or movement or whatnot that stems from Black people deserve reparations in this country. I'm a person that believes all Black people everywhere deserves reparations, because if you have been touched by white supremacy and impacted by colonialism, guess what?
You should be repaired.
It's going to be different. It's going to look different if you were not a part of chattel slavery. If you were, and I don't mean you personally alive today,
right?
But if you were not impacted by that, it is different. However, in today, are you treated differently by the police? Are you treated differently by by systemic oppression because someone knows that you weren't a descendant of a slave? Like, no.
Right.
That's not how that works. Okay. So anyway, I don't stick in that part. I also don't think that we're going to get reparations by saying, hey guys, take a look at history and the economics of it all. And then obviously we deserve reparations, so you'll give it to us. That's not going to happen.
No.
But both of these groups have gone into we must separate ourselves from the others because we deserve those reparations and they don't. And we need to make clear that we're the ones that deserve it. And we're the ones who have suffered the most. Now we're going to do Oppression Olympics and tell you how nobody could have it worse than us. Okay. So to me, this is the kind of thing that then rolls into those nationalist talking points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, you are worried about the border when you are saying things like, we were brought here. We didn't have a choice. Those people have a choice. They shouldn't come here. Excuse me? Excuse me? Like, what we have to understand off rip is that none of us are free until we're all free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are going to pretend to be living in a Black radical tradition and you are going to make change, you do not get to leave Black people out. You do not get to leave other people out, because our liberation means everybody's liberation. So we don't get to do that. You are doing the work of white supremacy and putting, a different level of Black aggrievement on it.
Right. So imagine for a second being able to clearly identify the beast and propaganda in front of you, right? And then here you are, minding your business, surfing Black Twitter, enjoying your pocket of the algorithm that you're on, and Instagram and Facebook. And then you start to see and hear what are clearly Republican talking points coming from people in your community. And you're like, what? Wait a minute.
What?
You start to see people, like you went to high school with, just asking questions for engagement. You start to see people who have come from situations that have been affected by oppression, drastically, the Black and brown communities, now parroting talking points that you heard 4 years ago from the right. There's a moment when it's like, now I'm surrounded. What's happening?
Right.
The front of me and the behind, what's going on? It's jarring and it's scary because it really shows how a little disenfranchisement can go a long way.
Yep. And oh boy, that is the point. So this is one of the points of some of these pipelines. Like I say this all the time, no matter what the pipeline is, the very end of it is white supremacy. That doesn't mean that you're going to go all the way down, right? That doesn't mean you're going to end at the bottom of the pipeline. There are different exit points. Maybe that exit point for you is just full-blown disenfranchisement. Maybe you just feel so unseen and invisible and not cared about that I'm just not going to be a part of this. I bow out. This system isn't for me.
Right.
And one of the other things we see with some of these groups that go the nationalist route, they then go the tradition route, which is, what does tradition mean for white supremacists? Like, it means a patriarchal society that has a hierarchy and white men are at the top of that, right? How do you get non-white men to buy into some of these otherwise oppressive structures? You do it with patriarchy.
Yep.
You do it by telling them, no, you are the man.
Patriarchy, the great unifier.
Okay, I take it all back. You are a jingle maker.
All right.
Yeah, I take it all back.
It's kind of, okay.
Because that's it. I mean, that's it. It's all to then for a handful of people to hold on to all the wealth and the power, right? But in order to get there, you got to dupe a lot of people along the way. You got to step on a bunch of necks.
Yep.
And you got to get people to believe in something that they will never get.
Bob said one of the most comic spectacles of recent years has been Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
The quintessence of a sniveling, whining milquetoast declaring himself the resolute defender of American masculinity.
Bob, will you write our show? Number one. And two, seriously.
Yeah.
This is one of years of just being like, I'm sorry. What?
Are you serious?
I'm sorry. You're a populist? I just, You speak for the people? Tucker McNair Swanson? Of the Swanson Empire?
Yeah.
Knows everything about the working class. Knows everything about what it means to be a manly man.
Yeah. As we discussed this earlier in the week, I said to Morgan, I said, I feel like in some ways the left, and even more so the progressive left, is starting to fall into some of the patterns that centrist Democrats have fallen to. There's been a lot of infighting within the Democratic Party, and the pressure and the horror of another Trump presidency has progressives now, arguing in the comments with the people that they have led down this path of, no, we're just not going to just throw our vote at Joe Biden. And now because these progressive pundits are scared, much like their followers are, we're all scared. None of us want Trump. They're like, hey, stop goofing around and make sure you vote for Biden no matter what. Hey, man, look. Okay, so he messed up a little bit on his speech. We all mess up words here and there.
Mean,
I can't believe you guys are paying so much attention to this. Like, hey. And that alone is one side of it. I think the other thing that's happening is because we all are existing in our little bubbles. When we see things like Amber Rose, right? Spoke at the RNC. We have a Sexy Red saying, well, in the hood, we're voting for Trump because those checks. We have a Waka Flocka kicking people out of his show if they're not pro-Trump.
That's what he's doing?
Oh, that's what he did. He's on the mic saying, if you're not about Trump, get out my show.
Cool.
Yeah. And we say to ourselves, that's, again, much like the Democratic Party, we dismiss those people.
Right.
It's like, that's anybody worried about what they're saying. On the contrary.
Except for.
And I don't know what it was about Amber's speech or her moment that made me go directly back to what Sexy Red said. And it's one thing for us to say they're parroting talking points. And like you said, there's a pipeline that has delivered these talking points to them.
Yes.
Because Sexy Red is not sitting down watching Fox News.
Correct.
But she is now having political conversations on podcasts.
Right.
At her shows.
Right.
Within her community. And it's...
I don't know.
It's real.
Yeah, it is.
It's real. For everyone that said, oh, Amber being up there doesn't mean anything.
Who listens to Amber
Rose? It's real, though.
But it's not you, okay?
Right.
So cool. Not you. You don't. Great. There are a lot of people that don't even know who Amber Rose is, that was their introduction.
Right.
And they're not going to look back.
No, not at all.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care what she did before. Mm-mm. Because what she's doing now is saying what they want to hear.
Yep.
So same thing with Sexy Red. Same thing with any single one of these Black or brown artists that they wouldn't get spit on if they were on fire by any of these people.
Yeah.
And real specifically Trump.
Yeah.
Or anyone in his administration who has already made very clear what we do here is Christo-fascism, baby.
Yeah.
We're looking to be a Christian nationalist country. Is that how... Am I saying any of these things right?
Yeah.
That doesn't include us. It's not going to include someone who looks like Sexy Red, but we can use you. We can use you in this moment. It's not going to look like, there's a reason that Amber Rose, who has never had anything to say politically, she got a Trump chain out of nowhere, is seen with that MAGA rapper or whatever that's supposed to be. And now all of a sudden she's got a speech at the RNC.
I mean, look at what the Republicans are doing strategically, right? The way they are casting their net even wider and wider. So you have Amber Rose, much to Candace Owens' chagrin, having an opportunity to speak at the RNC. Dang, I forgot the other example I was going to give. Oh, yes. J.D. Vance's wife is a brown woman who is now... like no one realizes the whole time. Now they're taking hits for that. There was I
mean, they knew that was coming.
Right.
They just, cross their fingers.
A Republican that spoke at the convention. I cannot remember this woman's name. And she recited a prayer, a Muslim prayer, before she said what she was saying. She actually had on a head covering.
Why?
And they allowed her to go up there and speak. And here's the really, really wild part. If you look at her resume, she has done more for that party than the majority of the people that got on that stage. Just like, no, she is mad effective. Like, she goes in. She's done this. She's got this done. She's got that. She's got this done. But the response on Twitter... They booed her. Listen. The response on Twitter was like, why would you have that person up there praying to a demon?
Oh.
They went in. So we're seeing the Republicans trying to reach out. I mean, that was all. 2 out of those 3 things were very, very huge gambles at the RNC. Like, what? Like you were saying about the rapper that she was in the video, Amber was with. They showed the video there, and someone commented, was like, when it was done, like, everyone was just quiet. Like, they didn't know.
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what you just showed me or why this makes sense to me.
So when you just said this is a gamble, there's no such thing at the RNC to me. Because nobody's listening for what they said or what they do. That's not it.
They're waiting for the applause sign to tell them what to do.
I mean, sure, but it's definitely more like, are you just on my side? Are you on my team?
I just need to know where you are.
I just need to know. Okay, so you got a Trump, your MAGA hat. We're together.
All right.
It's like, I know that people get upset it's like, is it a cult or it's a cult?
Mm-hmm.
But there's cultish behavior, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of just none of the. We're not even here to talk about the policies.
What's a policy?
We're not. That convention was just. I mean, it's just saying, just come on out, Trump, and tell us who's going to be the running mate. Yeah. Which maybe let's take a quick music break and hopefully we can talk about JD Vance for like 2 seconds. Because to just wrap this first portion that was supposed to be 15 minutes, what does all of that have in common is that it all ends up feeding into these pipelines that absolutely end in conservative thought for certain things, which it isn't that conservative thought is inherently wrong. It is that the thought that they are picking up is anti-humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's self-defeating.
It literally only speaks to this teeny tiny group of people that all the people speaking to it don't realize they're not a part of that group. Right. That they will be left off the ship.
Who was that said they would hit Elon up to get on a shuttle out of?
That was one Dave Rubin, who does in fact goes into our next part because Dave Rubin and Bill Maher and these people that are like centrists. What do they have to do with Renee? What do they have to do with Nathan? A lot.
All right, we'll be right back.
You want more views from Morgan Jones and DJ Ambush?
You know you do.
Then I suggest tuning in to News with My Fiance's sister show, Views with My Fiance.
All right.
Just look up Views with My Fiance on your favorite podcatcher app.
Do it!
For real.
Welcome back to News of My Fiance with Morgan Jones and DJ Ambush. Shoot us a text at 971-220-5979. That is 971-220-5979. Speaking of texts,
we got one that says, and everyone in the pipeline benefits from someone being further down the pipeline, like they aren't as bad as them.
Correct.
Ding, ding, ding. Like a pyramid scheme. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A pyramid scheme within the marketplace of ideas. Is that what you're talking about?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And speaking of the marketplace of ideas.
What? Wait. I'm sorry.
What?
Who came up with that phrase? Because I love it.
I don't
love
know.
It for all its foolishness.
I will say I don't know who actually coined it, but where I hear it or heard it the most was from Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro. It'd be like, and Dave Rubin, I think, still probably says it. In the marketplace of ideas. And the entire point was this was like the IDW time, what did that stand for? Internet dark web or intellectual dark web. Yeah. Because if you can have a conversation, then that means you're automatically intelligent to those guys. And then if you can continue to talk, and if you talk real fast, then they're definitely going to be able to be at the top of the marketplace of ideas.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta have the cadence. Okay.
But really all it takes is, being able to sit down and talk to Joe Rogan for 3 hours or whatever, or sit down to anyone and talk for 3 hours. And now all of a sudden you are someone who has entered the marketplace of ideas. We can all just chat about those ideas because they're just ideas. They're ideas that don't then harm anyone. Words can't be violent. They can't be dangerous. It's all of that idea that we're just asking questions.
You sound like that guy. What's that guy's name? I used to love him. He's quite the ridiculous smart now. Get him to the Greek. What's the guy?
Oh, Russell Brand. Yes.
Yeah.
He's
the most annoying with it.
He also a champion of the marketplace of ideas, there is this libertarian to fascism pipeline. And I don't know that anybody else has said that, but it's what I see.
Yeah.
So it is this, like Peter Thiel, who is basically JD Vance's billionaire. Like that's who his billionaire is. And I think that we just, maybe they hold their billionaires like balloons, just holding my sign for my billionaire over here.
Look what I brought to the party.
Yeah.
Literally.
Peter Thiel, who basically, funded JD Vance's successful Senate run, which makes no sense. When you can pay $10 million for a Senate seat, that's just pretty much insane.
Well, hey, man.
But Peter Thiel is, a billionaire who is also, the faux libertarian who actually just wants things to go the way he wants. It's not, I don't care about what's happening in your life. It's that once I know what's happening in your life, it should be what I want it to be.
Precisely.
We as a society have got to stop being so impressed by mediocre white people. Period. This is not like JD Vance we should not know his name, you guys. Hillbilly Elegy was not what we thought, what the world gave it. And it's not even like his real story. I get so upset. Like this is supposedly, a memoir when you grew up elsewhere, but really you're putting your life on the backdrop of Appalachia and like a drug crisis and poverty crisis. And then you become insanely wealthy and you don't do anything to help anybody. You're a senator, but you're not going to try and legislate anything to make life better for anybody that's poor. But, you'll get Oscar nods and you will get, every cable news channel is going to champion you for your tough story. It's The Blind Side. It's whatever white savior movie story, right? And we absolutely have to stop being impressed by those stories. And also, they're not true.
They just aren't true, bro.
And there's not enough pushback or like, whoopsie doodles once we find out that those stories aren't even real. But here we are with a JD Vance who should be a nobody, who is now a very wealthy, what are the extreme Catholics called? Do they have a name?
I can't think of them.
Also, everybody, please please pay attention to the amount of right-wing influencers or pundits or actual politicians that are converting to Catholicism. Pay attention to that. I'm watching Candace Owens do this right now, where all of a sudden parties don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. It's right or wrong. It's good or evil. And when this is not new, to be clear, we've done the good and evil talk for a really long time, but it's making a resurgence is my point. And when you are talking about taking rights away from people to have control over their own bodies, when you make it good and evil, right or wrong, there is no in between, there is no middle, that's an unborn baby.
Because now you're up against God.
Now you're up against God, right?
Yeah. How dare you?
And who are you to go up against God? But pay attention to it, because it shifts it. Now it's going to not be about conservative versus liberal or whatever. It's going to be like, no, I'm just a woman of God. And I'm here to serve. And I want to make sure that, everybody else has the opportunity to serve and live their lives, loving and laughing or whatever too. And it's dangerous because she doesn't actually care.
No.
And if she does, I don't actually.
So the strategy that you're saying that they're employing is that because Catholicism is more restrictive.
Yeah.
We're just going to move it on over.
Yep. And JD Vance is out here, and also another recent convert. And we're going to hear a lot of choice. And these are the people who tell you you need school choice, which is segregation. You need, employers need to have a choice to be able to fire you, or landlords need the ability to have the choice to up your rent no matter what. Everybody gets choice except for you. And these people have already gone through different pipelines is where I'm going. Candace Owens has fallen down a bunch of pipelines. It doesn't matter if she was just trying to get checks or not.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me if she accidentally fell or if she purposely went down it. Doesn't matter. Right now, she isn't as impactful as, say, Amber Rose. So.
Not in today's world.
I mean, but she got fired for being a little too... You can't care about Palestinians if you're going to be in that world.
Yeah.
Period.
Would seem like a very simple point to make, which is that the Israeli government is performing a genocide.
Not Jewish people.
Yeah.
Not... The religion is doing nothing.
Right. Point like that is just, hey, that was a bridge too far there, Candace. Got to get you up out of there. Played no games.
I mean, and the thing that I want to make sure that we are understanding is that all of these different pipelines, no matter how the people enter them, the end result ends up being disenfranchisement from not just the political process, but from other people. It is more division. And yes, these are the same people who are going to say to you, don't talk about that thing because it's divisive. They're going to say, if you just don't talk about race, there will be no racism.
About it. Yeah.
What do you mean there's sexism? I work with women today.
They're doing fine.
And they get to wear makeup and skirts. So I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah.
Or pants, whatever. They are faux populists. They are not actually for the people. To Bob's point earlier about Tucker Carlson, you do not get to be the champion of the working class when you never have, never will.
No.
And have no idea what it even means. And honestly look down on people that work in our world. We are not as smart. We are not as educated to someone like him. He does not get to be a populist. He does not get to say he's here as a champion for the people. And he does it. And there are people that believe it. And my point is that all of these are faux populists. All of these people know that their entire ideology is in the minority. And that's why they have to put it in a pipeline. That's why they have to disguise it. That's why they have to make it different. And can't just say, oh, hey, guys, this is the white supremacy pipeline. Oh, here's the fascism pipeline. Here's the Christo nationalism pipeline. They can't say that. They got to sell you a trad wife, right? They have to give you the idea that maybe the government should give you a wife.
You're owed.
You're owed. You're due, aggrieved dude.
You pay taxes, don't you?
Why are you paying taxes and you lonely? You know?
Oh.
But it all goes to the end is even those people are going to be left behind, right? Even those people are not going to make it. Dave Rubin said climate change isn't real. And if it is, it's not man-made. And that humans have absolutely nothing to do with it. And if he's wrong, you know what? Whatever. I can just call Elon and get on a rocket to Mars.
He literally said that because he believes it's true.
Dave Rubin he is not friends with Elon Musk. To be clear, Elon Musk does not have friends. They're not friends. They're not buddies. They don't, call each other on the weekends. This is someone who they believe many of the same things. So he's just like, I know that I'll be able to hop on. And then in that moment, he realized he was like, oh, wait. And like, obviously the people I care about too. This is a married man with children. This is also a gay man married to used to think he was a black man, but I'm not 100% sure. I just know that there's a religious difference, a racial difference, and they adopted children. But you're now going to tell us that IVF is not okay, right? That adoption probably isn't the best. That's really messing with the natural order of things. We cannot at all be impressed by any of these mediocre people who don't even care enough to look into the thing they're saying to make it make sense.
Right.
And it's putting us in a very terrible, it has put us in a very terrible place, but it has us in this position where we are looking at Donald Trump being a president again. And what does Joe Biden have to do with that? Joe Biden is pulling a Ruth Bader Ginsburg and is in the frickin' way.
Yep.
And is gonna, to your point of now the runway's too short.
Runway's too short. Ball's been dropped. It's a wrap.
And it keeps dropping. Yeah. Anyway. That
was News with My Fiancé, brought to you by Morgan Jones and DJ Angus. Angus?
Oh.
Who's DJ Angus? Okay.
Angus?
All right. I'm just jumping sentences ahead. Okay. Brought to you by Morgan Jones and DJ Ambush. And our illustrious podcast editor, Kyle G. Check out those replays, man. Kyle's doing some magic over there.
For real.
The playlist is already updated, so you'll see that in the podcast description, as well as the text from today's show. And you know how it is. Don't let the individuals distract you from the systems. Poverty is a policy choice.
Hello.
People over profits, power to the people. None of us are free until we are all free. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.